All right, well, let's get started then. We can start with a prayer. Would anyone like to volunteer for that?
I can.
Perfect, go ahead.
Okay. Dear Heavenly Father, we are grateful for this day. We're grateful for the technology that allows us to meet together. We're grateful for the knowledge that we learn, and we ask that you please bless that we have thy spirit with us and we're able to learn the things that thou would have us learn. And we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you very much. Okay, so this week we're going over the wilderness survival activity. So do all of you have your individual scores ready to go over?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can share my screen, and I'm going to bring out a fresh one. And before we go over our individual rankings, we're going to make a consensus on what we think the most important out of the 14 items is ranked at. So let me pull this up, and I'm going to share my screen, and then we can just talk about the different rankings. So go to my downloads. Do you guys know how to share screens on this at all?
On mine, there's a little toolbar on the left. There's a green computer screen with an arrow. It says screen share.
Okay. Can you guys see my whoa? Can you see my stuff? Is it like a big mirror thing though? Holy smokes. Okay, hold on. Okay, can you see this?
Yeah.
The survival activity?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So let's just start off then. We'll just start with what we think is the most important. So we'll go around. The way we're going to do this is we'll just do one by one, and you'll give us, to make it easier for everyone, give us like a few rankings. So maybe one or two that you think the first item will be. We'll start with rank 1 and down to 14. And when you give your ranking for it, give a good explanation. So there's like proof that we can kind of go off of to see what this is. That way we'll come up with a better consensus. So we'll start with Avalon. What do you think the first one should be ranked at?
Well, I put the first one as the water purification tablets because, okay. I mean, we can go without food for a while, but you definitely can't go without water. So I thought it was the most important to have that just basic need filled. But then I put the second ranking as a fanny pack of food.
Okay.
Because, I mean, you need to keep up your energy if you're going to be going for so long without, like they were going to be 5 days, or it would take 5 days until they got to the camp. So yeah, that's what I put.
Good explanation. I like that. All right, Marshall, would you like to go next?
Yeah, I put sleeping bags because you can go without water for a couple of days if you need to, but it'd be so cold that you could freeze to death. The people that got into the wreck or the accident, they would be going through shock most likely, through at least the one with the broken leg. So he would need something, or she would need something to keep them warm. So I just feel like keeping themselves at least warm is the highest priority.
Okay, So, and then Sarah, what do you think?
So I had put the water purification tablets as number 1. Also, because if you drink infected water, I mean, there's plenty of water around, but you could get, you know, you could get sick from it. And if you get sick from it, you're going to dehydrate yourself more, which will make the days you have to last till survival even worse. And number 2, I put the duct tape because I think my number 3 is, hold on, let me look. Yeah, my number 3 is the 2 fishing poles. And you need the duct tape to fix the fishing poles. And you need, or you could use the duct tape to repair at least one of your boats so that you could at least travel. Yeah, those are my reasonings.
Okay. Those are good explanations. I like those. For mine, what I did was I said that it was also the first one that I put was water purification tablets. And my reasoning was the same as pretty much Avalon's, because the first thing you want to, what I thought was the first thing you want is to always have water, because you're not going to be able to last very long without water. I don't know what the scientific range is without water that you can go, but I think if you had water purification tablets, that would help you survive the longest. And they said that the rescue team wouldn't start searching till at least 5 days. So you'd want to be able to survive that long. But I like what the rest of you had to say. So Marshall, you said the sleeping bags, and Sarah, you said, did you say it was the duct tape? Or what else did you say was the first one?
So my second one is duct tape, and then my third one was the fishing poles, because you can catch food with the duct tape.
And the fishing poles.
Yeah.
Okay. What did you say for number 1?
Me, I said the water purification tablets.
Okay. So Marshall, then tell us why we're wrong.
Okay. Well, I think you guys are wrong, because it's 3 days without water, and it's 30 days without food. And so if need be, you could go at least a couple days without water. But since it gets down to 20 degrees at night, the people that got into the wreck, their clothes are going to be wet. The extra pair of clothes that they have is wet. And so they're going to need something to keep themselves warm. So my thought was at least a little bit, keep yourself guarded from the elements, and then you can worry about water and food.
Okay, I'm persuaded to actually say that that's more correct. Because I think you want to make, but if you freeze and die or become really sick and ill, you're really not going to, food and water is not going to help you too much after that. So I am willing to switch my score over to sleeping bags.
I think I'd be willing to as well. Like, the argument is pretty compelling to show that the sleeping bags would be more important than the water purifier. But I also think that the duct tape would be a strong second, instead of what I said before about the pack of food being second.
Yeah, I'm okay with the sleeping bags too. I mean, you can build shelters, but it would be easier to stay warm. And since for some reason, I thought there were only 2 sleeping bags, but there's 6. So sleeping bags it is.
Okay. We'll make that score. The first one is sleeping bags 1, and then duct tape 2. How did everyone feel about that?
Well, I liked it.
Yeah, I would say duct tape 2 or water purification pills 2, because duct tape has the versatility to help you create shelter. I mean, I kind of cheated and saw what the guides would say, or the experts, so I'm not gonna say that. But I don't know. I just feel like, plus duct tape can light on fire if you need to start a fire. Like, it just has so many different capabilities that it's kind of a necessity. You can fix the guy's broken leg at least a little bit. You can put a splint on.
Right. We will go with duct tape as a number 2. Because I put food, but like Marshall said, if you can go without food for a while, then there's more important things that you need to be taken care of. So we have sleeping bags is 1, duct tape is 2. My thoughts for 3 and 4, what I put for those was a compass or a map. I mean, you could do a compass or a map, but if you have no idea where you're going, like if you don't know where you're going to find people to help you out, then you're most likely either you're going to get away further from where a rescue party can find you, or you're going to get lost and probably die. So either a compass or a map as 3. And then I would probably say food after that, whether it's through fishing poles or the fanny pack of food. That's what I think 3 and 4 should be. What do you guys think?
I think I put map as number 3, just so that you can know the layout of the area, and if you need to find more permanent shelter, you can. I think the salami and the lunch meat's not a good number 4, but the fishing rods are, because of the bears in the area. You don't want them smelling the food that you have on hand, and so if you can just catch your food daily, then you have a better chance of not running into bears.
I put, for number 3, I put the fishing poles, because we already have the duct tape, and the fishing poles would supply food because there's lots of water everywhere. If there's water, there's going to be fish or something that you can eat. And then for number 4, I put the whiskey, because they talked about how there are a lot of people with cuts and bruises, and if somebody gets hurt, they're going to need to be able to like sterilize their wound so that they don't get infections. And I guess my take on why I didn't choose the map or the compass is because they're really far away from people, and they do know that there's going to be a search party coming. You know, I think they said in 5 or 6 days. So my main thought was make sure that you have everything that you need in order to survive before trying to go and rescue yourself. It's like what I tell my kids if they get lost, like, don't go anywhere. Just stay where you are so that I know I like have an idea of where to find you. But that's what, I don't know. I kind of would just be like, get the stuff that you need. You can travel a little bit, but don't try to get anywhere too extreme. But that was just my thoughts.
Okay.
I think that's a good argument about just staying where you are. But I had the opposite view in mind when I read through this for the first time, thinking that the compass would be the number 3 on the most important to like know where to go. But I guess looking back, it sort of makes sense to have the map more important, because you don't, like, you can have a compass, but like not know exactly where things are without the map. And for number 4, I put sleeping bags, but we already established that was number 1. So yeah, that was my reasoning.
Okay, so as a consensus, for number 3, do we want to do, does map sound like that's what we want?
I agree with maps.
Okay, looks like everyone's nodding their head, so I'll put 3 for maps. And then for 4, there's a little bit of a debate. It looks like it's between, Sarah says whiskey, but we would say something like fishing rods. So Sarah, do you want to tell us why you think we'd be wrong?
I mean, we could do the fishing poles. I don't know.
We should do fishing pole then?
Yeah, I mean, the whiskey's important. It needs to be in the top 10, you know.
Right.
For sure.
I agree with you on that for sure.
I mean, the fishing poles, food's important. You can't do anything if you're starving, so.
Okay, I'll do fishing poles as 4. Avalon, would you like to tell us what you think would be good for 5 and 6?
For 5, I put the map, and then 6, I did matches. So as we've already talked about, the mapping, number 3. I think after the fishing poles, it'd really be important to have the matches, because then we would be able to cook the fish that we ate and not eat sushi, for those that don't like sushi. So yeah, and plus it'll help us keep us warm by creating a fire when the nights are really cold and it's not raining. Or yeah, so I think it'd be really important to have the matches for number 5. Yeah.
Okay.
I put matches for number 5 also. And just that to what Avalon said, if you're lost or trapped, a sign for you need help, for any like passing flights or even for a rescue team, is you create a triangle of flames, and or I should say, shouldn't say triangle, but you create 3 separate flames in the shape of a triangle, and it signals to them that you need help, and so they can report where you are. And so I thought, if by happenstance there is anything or any flights or just a signal to the rescue team where you are, that would be a necessity.
We're doing 5 and 6, right? Okay. So I did matches also, because you can start a fire without it, but it's really hard. And so matches are important. That was my number 5, and my number 6 was the sleeping bags, but we already placed that somewhere else.
So what would you switch it to then?
Good choice, or good question. Oh, let's see. What do we have left? Probably the whiskey then, because we haven't put that anywhere, right? But I guess now the question is whiskey more important or is matches more important? Which I would probably say matches for 5 and then whiskey for 6.
Okay. So I put matches as 5 on my own. So I think we're all in agreement on the matches. We all have good reasoning for that too. 6, I put a set of clothes. I don't know if it said if they were wet or not though. I guess they're all wet. That would probably make a difference if they were wet or not. I guess you could try to dry them off with a fire. I thought they were actually dry, so now my reasoning has shifted a little bit. But I would put, if they were dry, my reasoning would have been, get people out of wet clothes. get them into something warmer. But after that being said, I'm not exactly sure what I do as number 6. What did you guys all say for number 6? So Sarah said whiskey. What did Marshall and Avalon, what did you guys say for 6?
I said the cord because I mean, we talked about fishing poles earlier, but if you have the cord and you have at least a little bit of meat, I mean, you could just grab a stick and create your own fishing line. But plus, I mean, it's the same reason as the duct tape. It just has a lot of versatility to it. It could help start the fire if you keep it dry and different things like
that. For number 6, I had put matches, but my choice after that would be 7, which is the 6 personal flotation devices. And I think that's pretty important because it could be used for different ways, like to float, like it says, but then also to create like a shelter to protect them from the rain. They can put it over their sleeping bags to keep warm. So that's why I had put the flotation devices as number 7, but I'm willing to say that would be number 6 for me.
Okay, so it looks like all of us have different choices for that. I think Avalon made a compelling argument just to make better shelter or to actually move. Now that I think about the flotation devices, and after watching the wilderness survival video, it would be easier to move or to cover more distance floating through water rather than going through a marshland. So now that I think about that, I feel more compelled to put a personal flotation device. So I think that's what I would switch my answer to then, if we were to make a consensus. What about the rest of you?
So I was looking at everything that we have, right? And I put the flotation devices pretty far down on my list because they're really big. Like it's something that you're gonna have to carry with you when you do have to go on the marshland. And in regards to shelter, what I had imagined was using the sleeping bags as a cover and like creating kind of a tent since there's 6 of them. So I mean, I don't know. To me, they're like give or take, but I could move if everybody else wants to.
So my qualm with the personal flotation device is everything we've talked about so far has been kind of building shelter and staying put. And then you'd have to fix the canoe for one. And 2, I just feel like with the amount of people, I mean, didn't describe all the injuries, but the amount of people that are injured, being super mobile is already a difficult task. And so it talked about you would have to carry the canoe several times, not just a little bit. So I don't feel like traveling, at least in a group, is very viable.
Yeah, I think that the group should stay put too. Like, I just think that's smarter, especially because they know a rescue team's gonna come. That's kind of what I was thinking. With the sleeping bags, they can kind of set up camp near water where they can get their fish and get water to drink and just kind of treat it as a very strange camping trip.
Have your thoughts changed at all, Avalon?
I mean, I want to be stubborn, but like I understand where you guys are coming from. Like, it makes sense to stay put. But then what could also happen is like we could send people that aren't as injured as much to help try to get more help. But then again, I don't know how well that goes. Like in watching movies in this scenario, those people usually get lost or something. So I don't know how realistic the movies are, but yeah, I'm really not sure.
Yeah, my thoughts. I think travel is fine. There is one person with a broken leg, but if they're able to float in water, they don't really have to worry too much about their leg or slowing other people down as much through water. I think anytime you're trying to survive, one of your top priorities should be finding civilization. Because, I mean, they might want to stay put if they know for sure that a rescue party is going to find them. But they don't really know if their rescue party is going to find them or how long it's going to take. And either way, it's going to be at least 5 days. So my reasoning is the further they can get closer to civilization, the better. And that's why I think we also put the map. We put that as number 3 because we want them to know where they can go. So if they know that they can get closer to civilization, what they'd want to do is travel the most efficient way as possible. Given that one guy's got a broken leg and it might be hard to travel by foot through marshland, the personal flotation devices could come in handy if they want to make some actual distance, or if they wanted to use it for additional shelter or protection. I don't know if the flotation devices are actually bulky though. You might be able to fill them up with air. I don't know exactly how it works. That's my reasoning though. Does anyone see any gaps or holes with that?
So I was just looking up the National Park Service, the federal one, and they say to stay put. If you get lost, stay put, because they checked in. People know where they are. That people know their route. If they're on their route, they should just stay put so that the rescue team can find them, because it's easy to get lost in the woods, and even on the water, currents are going to affect you. Hold on, honey. And in regards to the guy that has a broken leg, if his leg has to be like sling straight, that's suddenly going to take up like a whole big chunk of a canoe. And so I don't know. I just think they should stay put, and therefore they
Before we discuss further, can we view the chart again to see what we have chosen? Because I think if we're currently in argument, but if we decide to move or stay put, I think a couple of our priorities would change, you know?
Right. So what we have so far is at number 1, we have our sleeping bags. 2, we have duct tape. 3, we have a plastic covered map of the region. 4, we have 2 fishing poles, and 5, we have matches. And what we're trying to figure out is what we'd have 6. So like you said, what we need to figure out is if we're going to stay put or if we're going to move. So actually, Sarah made a compelling argument using the website, and they are at a provincial park. So if they did check in and people know where they're at, then I suppose according to what those experts would say, then we'd probably want to stay put.
Well, they also said the nearest road was 12 miles. So it's not like there's going to be any park rangers traveling on roads near where you are to spot you.
That's true. But I mean, I've done some like backcountry hiking and things like that, and you check in to the ranger's station and you tell them your planned route, and then when you come back, you have to like check off, or you have to like, they communicate and you have to say like, hey, we're done, we made it. And if you don't show up, because they said that there were people waiting for them, right? Or they were going to be people waiting for them. So, I mean, even if there's not rangers driving on the road, I mean, I would still stay put and put yourself in a place where, you know, set out a help or something, you know, that indicates where you are that could be seen from the air in like a clearing or something. I don't know.
So should we stay or should we go somewhere?
I vote stay. I'm sure you know that.
Well, I mean, we're also forgetting an option that we can send people for help. I mean, and you don't want to give like the worst injury of a broken leg, so everyone else should be fine enough to stay and send people to help, you know? So it could be a mix of both.
What do you think, Avalon?
Just like what Marshall said. But if that's the case, and it's not flotation devices, then what should be the 6th in the ranking?
So assuming, let's say some people want to go find, they want to get out of there as soon as possible and they're willing and able and they can take care of themselves. So we can send half the group to go find a rescue party or go find something to help out. Then what would be best for everyone at that point? Maybe not flotation devices. I like what Marshall said about a parachute cord being very versatile and there's a lot of different uses for it. I think that would be important for sure out of anything else on there.
Like I think it's versatile, but also I like what Sarah said about the whiskey treating people's wounds. I honestly don't know how long infection takes to set, but it might be something worthwhile considering. And plus, if you just want to party, but
it's never a good idea in survival situations.
Lord of the Flies.
I always think that during zombie movies. I'm like, stop drinking. What are you doing? Like, one more thing. I don't want to be this person, but in regards to splitting up, if we split up, say it splits up equally. There's 3 people going, 3 people staying. All I could think of is safety in numbers, right? If a bear does attack, or bears are like more likely to stay away if there's 6 people rather than 3 people. I don't know. I just feel like everybody should go or everybody should stay.
Do you have any extra thoughts, Avalon?
I'd be willing to say the parachute cord as number 6 because of the many ways that you can use it. I can understand the idea of using whiskey for injuring the people or helping the injured people, but it would definitely not be a good idea to consume because, I mean, I've always been taught, like, don't drink whiskey, not just because it's against the word of wisdom, but it, like, lowers your body temperature. So because you're already in a cold place, and if they were to be tempted to, like, drink it because they're bored or something, like, it would just harm them more. But if they just use it for medical purposes, like the person with the broken leg and trying to heal that wound, then I can understand using that.
Okay, so I think we're in a consensus of the parachute cord is 6 and whiskey is 7. How does that sound?
I would agree with that, yeah.
Okay, awesome. So now we're on to 8 and 9. For my own personal ones, I did put the flotation devices and the duct tape, but I switched that already. So, seeing as we're either going to stay, not all of us are going to travel. Most of us are either going to stay or some people are going to go. That's kind of what we're looking at as a situation. If that were the case, I think next we could probably do a compass. Either a compass is what I'm thinking, or we haven't done water purification tablets yet. If we've been able to take care of ourselves so far, have shelter, be able to get our own food, I think water might come next afterwards. I think by that time we might be needing some water. We might be 1 or 2 days in. Otherwise, I think a compass just to help with making sure we're not getting lost if we are moving at all. What do you guys think?
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I think water should be, I don't know. I think it should be above anything food-wise, but I think water purifiers should be next, or that we should move something up so water purifiers could be earlier in the list.
Yeah, I was thinking that we should bump everything else up and put water tablets as number 4, maybe 3. Yeah.
So you're saying we should change our rankings?
Yeah, I forgot about water. But water is really important. You can last quite a while without eating. I mean, you won't be very strong, but we can't last very long without water. And like I said, if you drink infected water, then you're gonna get sick and get more dehydrated. And I mean, people can die from things like that. So
I was thinking that we could boil the water because we have the matches. So, I mean, I think some other things on this list are a bit more important than the tablets because we already have the source of fire with the matches. So I'd say that the set of clothes would be number 8 because, like we said, we have the resources to have a fire so we could dry the clothes at this point if we were to say that.
Well, with boiling the water, I don't know what we would boil it in, considering we don't have any pots or pans, and so there comes with that issue.
Yeah, I did not think of that.
Yeah, that's true. We don't have anything to boil it in. So I guess we have been lacking water this entire time. Do we want to move some of these rankings around and put water maybe as a number 4 and everything else just go up from that? Who disagrees? Does no one have anything? Should I just go water as 4 and we'll bump up everything else in the same order?
yeah, sounds good to me.
Okay. Okay, so next we have, so Avalon would say the next for number 9. Is that where we're at? Yeah, we'd be at number 9. You say a set of clothes. What else? What does everyone else think for number 9?
My 9 was whiskey, so But what are the other things available?
So right now we're looking at a fanny pack of food, flotation devices, set of clothes, a yellow frisbee, insect repellent, or a compass.
I just think insect repellent's not very necessary because bugs don't like the cold, so they won't be bothering you most days. I think a compass might help with being number 9, just because I do feel like people will have to travel a little bit further from camp if necessary to gather things like firewood and things like that, or looking for dry firewood. So they might need something to help them get back to camp.
I had put food as number 9, but if we have half the party traveling, a compass is important. So probably compass.
I like the idea of a compass as well. I would put that as number 9. What do you think, Avalon?
Yeah.
Okay, so compass is 9. Now we're looking at, so Marshall doesn't think insect repellent is very necessary. I would agree with that in terms of, because now we have the flotation devices, the food, and a set of clothes. So if we could dry out the clothes, I think that's important. If we're running low on food at that point in time, it might be good to have, I mean, we're having a hard time fishing and maybe we're moving away from water. I think some additional energy could be very useful at this point in time. For 10, I would probably say, I think I might go with a set of clothes. What do you guys think?
I don't know that the clothes are super important to me because, I mean, this is a survival situation, but like you could strip down and be in your sleeping bag and staying warm while you're drying your clothes that you have already, and then you have dry clothes. Since we already have the sleeping bags, I mean, I know there's like modesty issues and things like that, but life or death, I mean, I feel like even the frisbee could be more important than that in the long run.
I suppose you could use clothes for other things just besides staying warm. I mean, you could cut clothes and use them as like to wrap bandages or something like that. As long as they're dry, though, you don't want to be putting like something wet over a bandage unless you are absolutely trying to stop bleeding or something like that. But keep in mind, we only have 5 things left. So at this point, it's getting, the items that we have are less and less important.
I put food next because we have the parachute rope, so you can tie it up in a tree so a bear won't try to invade your camp for it. So yeah, food.
I would say food would be number 10 and then clothes as number 11 for the same reason that you said, Grayson.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would say either food or actually the frisbee, because if we look at all the things that we have, maybe besides the bottle, nothing else can hold water. And so if we're going to use the purification tables, we're going to need something to hold water.
So do you think the frisbee should come right after the purification tablets then?
It's possible.
or maybe even before, so that there's a, well, I guess you can drink water out of your hand, but I don't know how tablets work exactly. I don't know if you have to actually like crack them open and like put them in the water, or I don't mix them with the water. If that's the case, then we'd want to have a frisbee with the tablets. Otherwise, it'd be really hard to purify the water if it's not in a contained medium.
I don't know. I don't know. All the tablets I've seen, they've been like pills, and so they just dissolve in the water, and so it takes a little bit of time. But I mean, they might have come up with something else that would help with that.
Are there any other uses, like a good use for a yellow frisbee? I mean, you could use it to maybe signal someone or throw it somewhere because it is yellow. It's a lot more visible.
Yeah. I mean, a yellow is not a common color in the forest. So that'd be a pretty good indicator of human life. Though I was just thinking, I suppose for the water tablets, we could like fashion a container out of duct tape so that you can purify more water at a time.
Okay. So these are all good ideas. What I'm inclined to put is 10 for food and 11 for a frisbee. How does that sound?
Okay with me.
Okay with me.
Perfect. Let's do that. And then what we're going to have left is a set of clothes, a flotation device or flotation devices, and insect repellent. Any thoughts on those?
I personally think that actually the flotation devices should go next. I mean, we don't know what type they are. They might be the super thin kayaker flotation devices, or they might be those obnoxious orange flotation devices. But whichever case it is, there might be a case where you have to actually go into the water. Yes, the bears, I mean, they won't get the food, but that doesn't mean they can't go into your camp. And so you'll need something to help keep the bears away from you, you know?
Okay. I like that reasoning.
I think I would put the insect repellent next because they were saying that the weather changes really quickly up there. So just because mosquitoes aren't out when it's raining does not mean that they won't be out if it's 70 degrees and twilight. And if you have ever been camping and had bugs harassing you, it's exhausting. And it could be used as defense, and that's why I would put it next.
I would say the flotation devices for like the same reasons I've said earlier, and then also what Marshall said for number 12. But then also, I agree with you, Sarah, about the insect repellent. You know, it could change. I was in an area in South America where it was like 50 degrees and there were still insects biting me. So like, it's definitely not a happy experience when you have insect bites and having to survive. So 12 as flotation devices and 13 for insect repellent.
Okay, I agree with the flotation devices next. However, with the insect repellent, I'm not too worried. Like if I get, you know, some bug bites or anything like that. I mean, there's a potential to get some sort of diseases from mosquitoes, but I'm more worried about my short-term survival status than, you know, potentially falling ill a few days later from like a mosquito bite or something like that. I mean, I can handle, like, I'd much rather want to survive than, you know, have some bumps or some itching or something on my body. It's going to suck, but I think I'd be more worried about just trying to survive. And I think there are a few things like a flotation device or even wet clothes that could be used to help me survive more efficiently than insect repellent. That's my reasoning. So it looks like we can do flotation device for number 12. But now we're left on the set of clothes or the insect repellent. What do you guys think?
Again, yeah, I just don't think the insect repellent is very necessary. Because it did say that at night it does get down to below freezing. So you won't have to worry about insects at night, which is the main time that they do pop out. Plus, if you have a fire, insects also don't like smoke. And so that could be your insect repellent. Since we're not moving, we don't have to worry about that so much. But an extra pair of clothes might be nice, just because you can also be versatile with them. And we only have a limited amount of duct tape, so we're going to need other sources of tying things together. Also a limited amount of cord.
Yeah, I'd put the clothes and then the insect repellent.
Any thoughts, Avalon?
I disagree. I agree.
Perfect. Well, so I'll read it to you guys, or let me just share. Tell me if you guys can actually see the screen though when I try to share it. Does this look right? Can you guys see that? Is that a yes or no? Can you guys see the window?
Sorry, yeah, I can see it.
Okay. So 1 sleeping bag, 2 duct tape, 3 the map, 4 the purification tablets, 5 is our fishing poles, 6 is the matches, 7 is the parachute cord, 8 the whiskey, 9's the compass, 10's the fanny pack, 11 is our frisbee, 12 is our flotation devices, 13 set of clothes, 14 insect repellent. Any qualms, problems with that? Okay, so what I'll do then is I'll have to post this plus all of the extra stuff, and I can do that on my own. If you guys want to send me your personal rankings for all of these, I'll then make like a master copy of the errors and the expert rankings. And you guys can fill out your own personal error if you want to. But if you guys could send me your own personal rankings, then I can figure out the rest of this stuff. Can you guys do that through the same email thread that we've been using?
Do we have the expert rankings?
Yeah, so that's what Marshall is saying. If you go to the table of contents for the content of the class, then you can find it's in group discussion info on that side tab, and you go down to lesson 10 group discussion agenda, and it will have all of those on there.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, guys, go ahead and send me those through email, and I'll get all that stuff uploaded by tonight. Sound good?
Sounds great.
All right. I'll see you guys next week then. Did you have something to say, Avalon?
No, just that. Thanks.
Yep. Thank you.
All right. See you guys.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.